And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, BRimes.
All right, welcome to the show. Thanks for spending some time with us here. We want to make you more street smart, help you win in any marketplace. Of course, the Consumer Quarterback Show always goes to bat for you as a consumer here on the local level. Support the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show and all of our expert contributors. We got Anthony Rickman in the house, the RickmanLawFirm.com. We're going to talk with him here. Criminal defense law, that is, here on the program. Also, Fred Muth, he's our contractor extraordinaire. We're going to talk with Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Fred Muth on the Consumer Quarterback Show here coming up as well. I want to get into BlackRock. It's interesting. Charlie Kirk was on a podcast with Gavin Newsom, the California governor, and really did a great job of representing the conservative point of view with that. So we're going to talk about that as well. BlackRock and housing. Some of that as well. And also our friend Bernie Jacques is putting a bill forward in the state legislature to combat that. You know, a lot of these big companies, these big trillion-dollar hedge funds buying up single-family homes, competing with veterans, competing with recent college graduates and first-time buyers of all sorts. So that's something that we don't like. We don't want to see that perpetuated as well. And interesting, too, Pinellas County Commissioners had a meeting about short-term rentals. So we're going to go into some of the detail here on what does that mean and how does that affect the local real estate market. Of course, you know, very popular for people to buy real estate and rent it out. So we're going to talk about some of the recent changes to that and you know, some of the ordinances that were recently taken into account. So coming up on today's show. Also, the $5 million gold card, Trump's card. We're going to talk about that as well, the impact. Well, how could that impact the economy? That's going to be a fun conversation to have as well. All right, couple of hot listings here. Actually, before we do, Dave, we got a party coming up.
We most certainly do. This party is going to be this time, the third Thursday of every month. You know, we all like to get together and showcase to show partners, get everyone together for our fellowship and networking. And this time around, we are going to be on this side of the lake over Pinellas at Tarpon Turtle over at Lake Tarpon Avenue in Tarpon Springs. That's next Thursday, March 20th at 6 p.m. Appetizers are going to be covered by your very own Platinum MVP team. Of course, it's going to be a fantastic time over there with the new time change that we have. We're going to get a little bit extra hours in there when it comes to sunset. I know you're going to have the pontoon boat out there, take a little afternoon cruise. So it's going to be a great time. Talk with everybody, do some more deep networking than we normally do on the radio.
That's right. It's a free event. You're invited. Our audience is invited, and we'd love to meet you there. And come on out and bring any questions you have, any introductions you're looking for. We have all of the best attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, home service providers, self-defense expert, technology experts, and more to help you live a better life, save time and money, and avoid a lot of that commission breath that's so relevant out there in our community. So before we do, a couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. I got 9594 Southeast Maricamp Road. This is a new commercial listing that we've got listed. Great opportunity to buy a business that is kicking off a lot of cash. You got cash flow coming in, 5,725 square feet. Almost an acre of land. You have retail shop here. Now, this is operating currently as a hardware store in Ocala, Florida. Great opportunity to buy real estate, buy the building, buy the business, thriving hardware store with lucrative income streams in a booming area. You have two rentable sections that also provide revenue. You have an opportunity in the back to rent out to truckers and the big rigs there. They can rent. Seller financing is available with a strong down payment. This offers multiple income-generating opportunities. 9594 Southeast Maricamp Road, Ocala, Florida. Another one of our beautiful real estate listings, commercial real estate listing from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. All right, 17416 Magnolia Island Boulevard. This is a single-family home, gorgeous home here in a very exclusive private community. Location is Magnolia Island, which with only about 29 homes in that community. It's a rare gem at an excellent price. Priced just under $1 million. 5-bedroom, 3 full bath, 2 half bath. 2-car garage, 3121 square feet, over an acre land, right at an acre of land, gated community with lake access. You have professionally designed landscape and a grand circular driveway, pool and spa featuring lighting, a waterfall, a fountain. You have freshly painted front porch. Lots of updates and upgrades there. Beautiful property. Great opportunity to own an executive-style home. Beautiful pool and spa package with a screened-in lanai. 17416 Magnolia Island Boulevard, Claremont, Florida. Centrally located in the state, close to Disney, close to a lot of attractions. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Anthony Rickman, welcome back in, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in. And, we always like to jump right into some local stuff. We like to balance that out with a little bit what's going on in the national news. Where do you want to start?
Wherever you want, man. There's always stuff going on.
Yeah.
I was reading the...
no shortage of news.
No shortage. It's funny. I was looking at an article the other day about the villages. And they have the golf carts in the villages. Yep. And there was a guy in the golf cart, and he was driving the golf cart, and there's a car in front of him. And he swerved out of the car, and his golf cart passenger was in the golf cart with him, and she flew out of the golf cart.
Oh, boy.
And died.
Ooh.
And he's in the golf cart. You drive a golf cart. One of the reasons you drive a golf cart is because, hey, I had a couple of drinks. Yeah. I'm on the golf course, drinking a couple beers or whatever, and I'm on the golf cart, and I'm going to have some drinks. Yeah. And she falls out of the golf cart, and she dies.
Whoa.
Well, the guy driving the golf cart gets charged with DUI manslaughter.
Oh, my goodness.
Because you're in a golf cart, you think, hey, I can have some drinks and drive my golf cart. But you can't. And, people think that when you're driving your golf cart or driving a scooter, we see the scooters around downtown Tampa.
Right.
Or driving your bicycle.
Spring
breakers coming right around the corner.
Yeah.
That you're immune from prosecution
right.
if you get hurt or you hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Or if you get pulled over for a DUI or something. Or in the worst case like this, that you can't get charged with something criminal. I have a case right now involving a golf cart that there's some serious injuries going on. That people were injured seriously in a golf cart. And it reminded me that people aren't aware that you can be charged with some serious crimes by doing something that you think is not very serious.
Yeah.
I have a golf cart, and people don't realize that you can be charged with DUI on a golf cart.
Yeah.
You can be charged with DUI manslaughter if you're on a golf cart and you cause or even contribute to causing that crash, and you have a .08 or higher, or your normal faculties are impaired. And in that particular case, this defendant potentially caused that crash, and the passenger in the golf cart passed away.
Wow.
And now he is looking at a minimum mandatory of 4 years in Florida State Prison with a bottom of the guidelines, meaning that the mandatory sentence he's going to receive is somewhere around 7 years.
Wow.
With a maximum of 15.
Yeah.
And all because he did something that a lot of people think you can do.
Yeah, when he woke up that day, he's like, I'm going to take the golf cart. We're going to go have some drinks. We're going to hit a couple holes of, on the golf course. And you're right, and it does. And similar to a boat, right? Because you can also get a BUI on a boat.
Yeah, and look, and the BUI is the same thing. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. On a BUI, people don't realize that on a boat, you can get pulled over on a boat for any reason now.
Yeah.
And Governor DeSantis came out a few weeks ago and said, hey, we're going to make it harder for law enforcement to pull over your boat. Because law enforcement right now can stop your boat for any reason.
Wow.
When you're in your car, you need officer needs probable cause or reasonable suspicion. Either probable cause that you committed a crime or probable cause that you committed a traffic infraction, or enough suspicion to believe that you're ill, tired, impaired, under the influence, or a danger on the roadway to stop your car. Yeah. They need some probable cause. We hear it all the time. Hey, he hit the center line. You ran a red light. You're speeding. In a boat, you don't need that. In a boat, you just need some reason to stop your boat. Hey, I want to check to see if you got a horn. I want to make sure you have enough life jackets.
Yep.
I just want to stop you. You got a hot girl on the boat. Whatever reason it may be. Yep. They want to stop your boat. Yep. They could stop your boat for any reason.
Yeah.
Board it, inspect it, and then if you're anywhere near that operating area of the boat, if you're anywhere behind the wheel of that boat, or if you're the captain of the boat, you get charged with DUI.
Yeah.
And on a boat, let's say you have a passenger of that boat, you had a couple of drinks, someone falls off and gets hit or hurt or killed, you can get charged with BUI manslaughter.
Wow.
If you're the captain or the operator of that vessel.
Yeah.
And that is the same thing. You're looking at mandatory minimums in prison.
Yeah.
And people don't realize it. And we're coming up on boating season.
Yep.
We're coming up on spring break, where people are doing things, they're having drinks, they're having a good time.
Yep.
Designated driver. make sure that if you're on the boat, that there is somebody who's operating that vessel who is completely sober.
Right.
And sober is 0.08, and that doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, especially if you don't eat
0.08.
much.
No,
Yeah.
You're on the boat, you're in the sun,
Yep.
and it's a 0.08 or your normal faculties are impaired. And that's your ability to talk, walk, judge distances.
Well, that's a question that came up that I was thinking about. If you're on a boat, how are they going to do the, stand on one foot and put your finger on your
Let me
nose
tell you,
stuff?
the tests that they make you do on a boat are different than the tests or the exercises that they make you do on the land.
Okay.
And they have you sit on like a cooler. Like in the back of your boat, you got a cooler, you got to stand. And they like do the palm pat. And these tests are like really complicated. They make, you touch your hands, you touch your nose. It's like, and you have to follow directions and do everything that the officer is instructing you to do.
Right.
And if you're not following them to the T or doing them exactly the way that the instructors are telling you to do them, they're going to arrest you.
And you're on camera at that point?
And you're on camera.
Yep.
In fact, there's a case going on right now where there's some wildlife officers being sued down South Florida because of how these exercises are being administered. They are really hard to pass.
Wow.
And people are being arrested. And they are, in my experience, a lot of times, regardless of how well you perform exercises, once those officers have the reasonable suspicion, once they smell alcohol, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
They're gonna put you through the ringer. And at the end of the day, even if you blow into the legal limit, they're gonna say, hey, we still think you're impaired. Go ahead and give me a urine sample.
They're going to defend their
We're going to defend their position. At
Yep.
the end, you still have to hire an attorney and jump through the hoops.
Yeah, and what's that cost roughly?
So, and every case depends, but you're going to spend a lot of money.
You're looking at 8 on the low end, 12,
it all
10
depends.
grand.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to spend money for an attorney.
Yeah.
And you have to find a good attorney who knows how to defend your rights. And this is what I've been doing my whole career, since I was a prosecutor, defending against DUIs. And a lot of times, law enforcement gets it wrong.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, DUI really is a crime of opinion. It's an opinion that an officer makes based upon a 20-minute, 10-minute interaction with somebody.
Yeah.
And they're determining your normal faculties on abnormal tests.
Yeah.
We talked about the tests
Yeah.
for the exercises sitting on the back of the boat. We know those DUI exams we see on TV, the walk and turn, the one-leg stand.
Yep.
They're used to test your normal faculties, but they're having you do abnormal things.
Yeah.
People don't walk one foot in front of the other. They don't stand on one foot.
Right.
They're making you do those tests because they know what it takes to pass it. They know how they're going to fail you. They know what they're looking for. And the majority of times, no matter how good or bad you do, you're going to fail. Yeah. Because they're looking for things to mark you off on those exercises.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Anthony Rickman here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, criminal defense attorney, therickmanlawfirm.com. Here in studio with us. What about shooting crimes? Have you seen anything new in the shooting crimes world or defending yourself?
No, look, we see them all the time. You see in the shooting cases, we know that, particularly in this area, there are a lot of cases where people are having guns, where there's a lot of gun violence, and that across the country. In this area here in Hillsborough County, we've seen them go down. We've seen a lot. Hillsborough County is cracking down on gun violence. We see, the state attorney's office, we see the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, we see Tampa Police Department really cracking down on gun violence. We see harsher sentences on gun crimes. In the state of Florida, as you know, we have the right to defend ourselves. We have stand your ground. I'm about to go to trial on a stand your ground trial, where in the state of Florida, you have the right to meet force with force, including deadly force, if you have reasonable belief that you're going to be the victim and that you're going to be eminently attacked, and that force is necessary to protect yourself from imminent bodily injury, great bodily injury.
And that could even be somebody, let's say it's an older gentleman that's, says, hey, look, I'm not a young buck anymore. I can't throw my fists like I used to. And he pulls out a weapon where it's maybe a younger, more in shape person too, or whatever, aggressor, let's call him. And that aggressor's coming up with just fist. Right, he's coming up with just fists, and he's gonna, he says, "Look, one of these. If I get hit in the head, the right place, I fall down, bust my head open. Is that a potential? And then is that a justified shooting? And I know it's a rough number, but
yeah, I mean, every case is evaluated on the merits, right? And in those type of cases, you're asking the judge and eventually a jury potentially to put themselves in the place of the defendant, and in taking into consideration all the things that particular person saw, observed, and felt. And if you have a case where you have a frail 70, 80-year-old person being attacked by a burly, younger 20-year-old who's coming at him with fists, yes, you could be killed
Yep.
hurt, maimed seriously by fists.
Yep.
Fists can kill somebody.
Yep.
And if you're being pummeled to the extent where you can't defend yourself,
Right.
and that based upon your belief, your feelings, that you feel the only thing you can do is use deadly force, then yes, in those circumstances,
Yep.
in those rare circumstances, you can use deadly force.
Similar to Trayvon in Orlando.
Correct.
Very similar to that.
But you can't just take a gun to a fist fight.
Right.
At the end of the day, there is a line that has to be drawn.
Right.
And that's why they analyze those cases on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break. More with Anthony Rickman coming up, the Rickman Law Firm. Follow us online at Brandon Rimes1 at CQB Show. Really, it does us a big favor if you go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, Consumer Quarterback Show, Rumble channel out there as well. Podcasts are up as well. Go to the podcast. And thank you so much for doing that. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rimes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rimes here. Did you know that we buy houses cash? We will close quickly and give you a fair offer on your home or residential properties, even commercial properties, and we will give you a fair cash offer, close quickly, and be diligent when you're shopping these types of scenarios, because a lot of the wholesalers, the flippers out there, they will sign you up on an as-is contract, and they will shop that contract and try to find a buyer, but they may not find the buyer, and they won't close. So this is Brandon Rimes, 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com. Brandon Rimes, we buy houses cash and fast. Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our no money down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. That is my direct cell. You can call or text 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, a couple of hot listings. We'll jump back into this criminal defense conversation with the rickmanlawfirm.com. Before we do, here's a hot listing at 221 Howard Drive. Absolutely love this listing. Waterfront, multi-million-dollar listing here. Compliments of Aaron on our team. 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,500 square foot single-family home on 221 Howard Drive, Bel Air Beach, Florida. Gorgeous 3-island kitchen with Thermador appliances, saltwater pool, 100 linear feet of water frontage on deep water access. Bring your boats and jet skis and take that quick little short ride out into the Gulf of America. Enjoy the Florida lifestyle to the fullest. 8534 Carriage Point Drive, another hot listing. Just hit the market. Beautiful property here in Gibsonton, Florida, East Hillsborough County. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage, 1,780 square foot single-family home. You have a .16 lot. This one is a great opportunity to buy real estate. Lots of updates recently completed. Multiple patios, electricity. Plus, you have lots of updates here. New roof, HVAC as well. 8534 Carriage Point Drive, Gibsonton, Florida. A great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. Also wired for a generator and security system. Activation is required. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Yeah, I'm racing like laughter, though, saving our ass overseas.
And we got Anthony Rickman in the house. Anthony, no shortage of news today, man. Gosh, I got stories stacked up. Here's one about Marco Rubio. After they're canceling 83% of the programs at USAID, 5,200 contracts. I got Elon Musk, Doge, said it identified nearly 5,600 SBA loans to borrowers whose only listed owner was 11 years old or younger. And then you also have these ICE raids where you have Tom Homan and his team and his officers putting themselves in harm's way to go take these illegals out of the country, these criminals out of the country that Sleepy Joe Biden and his team let in. And then you got somebody inside tipping them off, giving the bad guys a heads up. Hey, these people are coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's creating, first of all, what they're doing is obstructing justice.
Yes.
I mean, and ultimately, we know that Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice is going to find out who's doing it, and once they find out who's doing it, they're going to be prosecuted, and they should be.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're obstructing justice, but not only are you obstructing justice, but you're putting in harm's way those officers, those agents who are out there doing their job, right?
Yeah.
And they have families to go home to.
Yep.
And by telegraphing who they're going to attempt to deport through these ICE raids, who they're going after, you're putting them in danger. You're putting these agents in danger. You're putting these officers in danger. You're putting everyone in danger who's going out to do their job.
Yep.
And when you see what they're doing and telegraphing these ICE raids, it's dangerous. It's wrong. And then you talk about the other side. When you have members of the administration, for instance, the Denver mayor, refusing to allow people to be deported through ICE raids, refusing to allow ICE agents to go into the jail to remove people who should be deported, violent criminals. There was the Denver mayor was being questioned in front of the Congress.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, they said, "Well, why did you not let the agents into the jail to remove him?" He says, "Well, we let him in the parking lot to remove him." Well, when the guy gets in the parking lot, he flees from the agents, and the agents have to tase him and put the agents in danger because this mayor wouldn't allow the agents into the jail.
That's terrible.
Into his own jail to arrest them.
Need to drop him off at their backyard.
Yeah.
Put him on his back lanai.
And at the end of the day, we're not talking about, law-abiding citizens with, families and kids. We're talking about criminals.
Yeah.
People who came to this country illegally.
Murderers.
Who came to this country and committed crimes and are now breaking the law in this country, who have no business being here, who came here illegal, who, after being kicked out of the country, came back to this country illegally again.
Yep.
And are being removed.
Yep.
And we have elected members, people who we put into office, obstructing justice and prohibiting our agents from removing them from the country. It's
Absolutely
crazy.
ridiculous. It really is, and there's no justification for that. In the sanctuary cities, I was watching one of the programs. Mark Levin does a great job of breaking down what a sanctuary city is. They're breaking the law from day one. I mean, just saying, hey, we're a sanctuary city. You're basically trying to carve out this. You're in the United States of America. You follow U.S. laws, and if not, you should be punished, and you should be, the full wrath of the federal government should come down on these people. And jokingly said, they'll put them in their backyard, but hey, maybe you have to do something like that at some point. We got about a minute left. What else is in the news? Yeah,
we look at Mayor Adams, right? He was on the opposite side of that, and then when he switches sides and says, "Hey, I agree now with the administration that I want to remove these people," now he's the enemy.
Yeah.
Now they're going after him, removing him from
complete
office.
180.
It's a complete 180 because he now doesn't agree with what they're doing, and once you go against that side, you're now their enemy.
Exactly, and it's an all or nothing. Like you saw just last week, the bill about men and women's sports. It was all Republicans yes, all Democrats no. I mean, how long can they continue this lunacy? Because I hope they go to the next 4 years because J.D. Vance will get in easily.
Not clapping for a kid with cancer.
Yeah,
I mean that's need you say more. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean that's bad, but
it's pretty terrible.
Yeah, no, really. At the end of the day, we're here to talk about criminal defense.
Criminal defense. That's right.
If you get arrested, accused of crime,
well, it's a criminal when they start allowing kids to spike balls into girls' heads and they get paralyzed and they have damages. I mean, you're borderline criminal at that point, aren't you?
For sure. Sure.
Sad news. Yeah. All right, the Rickman Law Firm, support the local economy, therickmanlawfirm.com. Anthony Rickman, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, facebook.com, the Rickman Law Firm there as well. Yep. And final thought?
Call me anytime. Listen, it's important to hire an attorney, a good attorney. Do your research. Check me out, Anthony Rickman, therickmanlawfirm.com, Rickman at therickmanlawfirm.com, 813-999-0502. Call me anytime. If you get talked to by the police, make me your first phone call. Anthony Rickman, 813-999-0502.
Save that number in your phone. You might need it. That's one of the numbers you're going to want to have. You can also save our hotline, of course, 813-917-1894. And we promise to get back to you before our head hits the pillow. All right, Anthony Rickman, thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, coming up, Fred Muth, contractor extraordinaire. We're going to talk a little real estate, little BlackRock, also short-term rental update. What's going on with these short-term rentals? Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rimes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, Brandon Rimes, Consumer Quarterback Show. We got Fred Muth coming up, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, tampascreens.com. Tampa Screens and Aluminum. We're going to talk with him about what's happening in the real estate space, contracting space, and we would appreciate you supporting the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show, and all of our expert contributors greatly appreciate all that do, everybody that reached out. Also, we got our party coming up Thursday, March 20th, 6 o'clock, over at the Tarpon Turtle in beautiful Tarpon Springs, right on Lake Tarpon there. Great opportunity to come on out and meet the team, meet some of our radio show partners, real estate team over at Lake Tarpon Avenue, Tarpon Springs. It's the Tarpon Turtle, if you haven't heard of it. Great location, waterfront, delicious food, appetizers provided by the Platinum MVP team. Thursday, March 20th, 6 o'clock, over in Pinellas County this time. You know, we try to mix it up between Hillsborough and Pinellas. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We got a couple of hot listings in Tampa Bay. We like to feature our listings on air, and that helps our sellers sell faster for more money with less headaches, maximizing the exposure and the profit on the sale of our beautiful real estate listings. 455 US Alt 19. This is a affordable home here. This is a opportunity for maybe an entry-level home. This one's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, ground floor condo, 900-square-foot condo, nestled in the heart of Palm Harbor. Beautiful Pinellas County, the dedicated laundry room right next to the kitchen there. Harbor Club amenities, 2 sparkling pools, 1 heated with a spa, tennis and basketball courts. Great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out 455 Alt 19, US 19 in Palm Harbor. It's unit number 151. Got a 2-2 ground floor condo for you. 1905 Masters Way. This is another beautiful home, split floor plan, 29 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage. Split floor plan, oversized great room, built-in shelving. 1905 Masters Way in Plant City. No backyard neighbors. And you have in Walden Lakes, the community, you have walking trails, dog park, playground, sports complex, and access to the lake for non-motorized vehicles. You can see all of our real estate listings. And if you're thinking about buying, selling, investing, or refinancing, please reach out to the Consumer Quarterback Show and all of our expert contributors. You can see our team and all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Brandon, hello. My apologies, I couldn't make it in. I was all set to come in, and a guy called me this morning and said, hey, we got to sign up before these tariffs go in. I go, yeah, man.
There you go.
Let's go. Let's get it going. I'm getting a lot of that right now. You know, the tariffs are going to come in heavy. Well needed. I don't want to get into the politics, but I believe it's a very well needed move. It's going to be a little painful. But I am taking a lot of calls. People are ready to sign up right now. Get the pricing while the tariff, pricing did not affect our industry yet. Who knows what's going to happen? I sign them up now. We have to buy the aluminum later. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but we'll get it worked out.
Pre-tariff pricing right now at Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Get the pre-tariff pricing. Got a sale going on.
Yeah, pretty much the way it is. Yeah, how you doing with the real estate? Based on what you hear with tariffs, how's that affecting you?
Yeah, we're blessed and highly favored as always, man. We just keep the nose to the grindstone, keep working hard, and what does it say? What's the saying? The harder I work, the luckier I get. And it's
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's 100%. Couldn't you imagine not working hard? What the heck would you do with yourself?
I guess hardly work. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to find another occupation or another something else that would occupy my time besides all the things that I do now, which is quite a few. Guy said to me the other day, he says, Fred, I've known you a long time. He says, when are you going to retire? I said, retire? I said, I've been retired. I've worked 2 jobs my entire life. Now I'm down to 1, and I'm loving it.
There you go. I like that. And Fred, there's so much in the news, too, man. There's so many positive things, so much stuff going on. I wanted to get to one here because in the state of Florida, we got our governor and one of our local state reps working on significantly reducing or maybe getting rid of property taxes. Got a clip of the governor here.
And, these property taxes, it's like you buy a home, you buy land, maybe you buy the home outright, but maybe you pay off a mortgage over 30 years. And then, okay, you've paid off the mortgage, you bought the land, you've been taxed many times. It's like, is it your property or not? Just for being on your property, you got to write a check to the government every year. So I think that that's a big issue, and I know we're going to be really looking at ways to bring people relief from that, because I think it's been really something that's pinching a lot of homeowners, particularly seniors.
Yeah, so we got our local state rep, Bernie Jacques. I reached out to him for commentary, and he's texted me back. He said, yes, Brandon, this is in the state. They're working on it right now. They're crafting the language, and they're also talking about, studying the impact of what that might look like. So, hey, that's potentially really awesome news for Florida property owners, Fred.
Well, yeah, and it's a great concept. The question is, where's the money going to come from that they need for everything that the taxes go to now? I think that's an issue. I don't know if they really touched base on that tremendously.
Well, I've heard about it.
I would have to agree, but you never own your home. You pay your home off. You don't own it. You know why? You don't write the check to the government. They own it. It's just that simple.
That's right. Yeah, so where I hear the money's coming from, to answer your question, is education is bloated. A lot of education, and the lottery, a lot of those dollars go to fund education, but there's a lot of administration and layers of bureaucracy at the top of the educational pyramids, call it up, maybe an upside down pyramid. So there's a lot of waste in education, from what I gather, and also the recycling programs are a sham. Only 8 to 10% of all of the products that we waste time and we spend all this time and effort sorting and putting everything by the curb, only 8 to 10% of that actually goes to a recycled product, according to studies. There's numerous studies out there. So in other words, about 90% of the stuff ends up in the landfill anyways.
Yeah, it's time to trim the fat on both of them industries. What you're mentioning right now regarding recycling has been going on from the beginning, and it's really hard to control that. It's what I see with that industry being a hard to control industry. If somebody decides to do oversight with that, I believe they're going to get shut out significantly. And there is what I heard. There's product going overseas that's supposed to stay here. In other words, it's not sorted out. It's sent overseas for a much lower dollar amount. But this is all hearsay.
I've heard that too, and I've seen it. I've seen that, especially some of the metals, some of the copper, and they strip the actual wires down and take the copper out. Yeah. But and it's super labor intensive, so that's why they ship it overseas and let them do it in wherever, Vietnam or wherever they're doing it. If you just joined us, by the way, we're talking with Fred Muth, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, a.k.a. the Tin Man. We used to call him a Tin Man here and there. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, but not to be confused, as you say, with Danny DeVito and his team, right?
Well, you can call me the Tin Man any day of the week. I like it. I think it's funny.
I do too. Yeah.
The movie was The Tin Man back in the 60s. DeVito and Richard Dreyfuss. They were out scamming everybody in the aluminum business. So that's where it comes from.
Okay.
That's not us. Not at Tampa Screens. We call us the Tin Man, but we don't operate like that.
No. Yep. Much more integrity. TampaScreens.com is the website, by the way. So if you're adding on any type of screen room, pool, lanai, patio, porch, there's so many different names for that in-between space. We want you reaching out locally and talking to Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and we've had a lot of positive feedback over the years from Fred. I want to move on, though, because there's so much in the news now, Fred. Pinellas County Commissioners recently had a meeting, and this is to update the short-term rental guidelines and the proposed ordinances relating to short-term rentals. Hey, what a boom that industry has had, right, over the last several years. Short-term rentals, the popular names of Airbnbs and VRBOs, et cetera, competing with hotel rooms. But here's some of the updates, some of the highlights. This is broken down. One of my producers broke this down for me. So occupancy cap of 10 people, including children. Because that's important, right, Fred? People come down for vacation. They have these bachelor parties or whatever it might be, big parties, and they cram as many people in there, and it's a fire hazard. It's also not fair for the neighbors that are just living there as a regular, family. Okay, so clear definition of a bedroom, allowing 2 people per bedroom and 2 in common areas. Quiet hours set between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. which is, again, important, relating to the noise ordinance and everybody having an equal opportunity to enjoy and have that pursuit of happiness, as we say here in America. Limited cars, so they're limiting cars to 1 car per 3 people. 24/7 hotline for immediate complaint resolution with extended code enforcement hours between 4 p.m. and midnights on weekends. Annual certificate, required display of ordinances inside the short-term rentals, fines up to $1,000 for violations, and possible revocation of certificate of use, and a unanimous approval by the county commissioner. So your thoughts on that?
Well, it's well needed. The regulations on short-term rentals have been well needed for quite some time. And those who own them properties, I believe, will probably prevail very well. They're not going to lose anything because they're going to make it much better for the next client to come in and want to rent that property. When you think about it, spring break down on the East Coast, we used to go down there as kids. It was nuts, absolutely nuts. And they're trying to eliminate that type of an environment for over on the west side here, or for the Airbnbs and the short terms. And I personally know a guy that tried to sell his place on Indian Rocks, and the fact that the Airbnbs were in such distress, based on the previous reasons that we just spoke about, he had a rough time moving that property, a very rough time, and he couldn't get his price. And then finally, there was some regulations put in that particular community, and after it sold, he found out he probably could have got another 5 or 10% right on top if the regulations were put in place prior to. So it is well needed, no doubt about it. And I'm sure in your business you see a lot of that, not just on the West Coast. There's Airbnbs everywhere at this point. Limited regulation. In the old days, you'd rent a hotel room, and if you were in a rock and roll band, you would trash it and get away with it. Now, and I joke around about the rock and roll band because that's typically what they did back then.
Yeah.
But in today's world, you try trashing a hotel room now, you're going to pay the price because they got your credit card.
They got you.
So,
they
got you. So it's well needed in the Airbnb industry.
Yeah, they're going to hold you accountable. Fred Muth here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon BRimes. I want to give a quick shout-out to our friend Lee over at Lee's Royal Services. He does a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Lee'sRoyalServices.com for all of your real estate needs as far as home and office cleaning. Lee'sRoyalServices.com on the interior of the property. On the exterior, reach out to our friend Ramin over at Heights Soft Wash, pressure washing company here in Tampa Bay. HeightsSoftWash.com. HeightsSoftWash.com. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers and incentives. All right, so next story, interesting story here, BlackRock. BlackRock's been in the news. Charlie Kirk had a really awesome podcast where he was debating Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom started a podcast, and he said, hey, I got to start mixing in with some MAGA folks, and he got Charlie Kirk on there, and Charlie did such a great job of representing the Christian conservative values. But here's a little bit about the conversation they had relating to BlackRock.
Look, the number one thing, which I know you're going to agree with, and I'm sure you'll have a super slick response, right? That's
not slick.
About half true. Yeah. But which is
about three-quarters.
The cost of housing. Average home in California, $850,000.
I like what you said about BlackRock.
But
that was interesting to me.
I think that is, but again, that's not a majority of house purchasing. About 1 in 4 houses are bought by private equity. Would you agree to say that BlackRock should not be able to own homes in California?
I think, and then turning around and renting
it's
them.
insane, right?
This is a huge problem across the country.
You should propose a bill in the California State House.
We've had one and didn't get very far.
So anyways, that's what he's talking about, BlackRock. This is something we've been talking about for over a year here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I did speak with our state representative friend Bernie Jacques. He talked about HB 401, which is a new bill that he has introduced. And the new bill aims to curb corporate ownership in Florida. Because, Fred, I'm sure you would agree, it's very frustrating when you see a veteran, a first-time buyer, a recent college graduate, a recent trade school graduate, or someone that's been working for a little while, trying to go out and buy their first home, and then being only to be beaten out in a sense, because it is competition. I mean, that's the definition of free markets, right? Competition. So you have these large corporate entities pooling together millions of people's dollars, and that equals into trillions of dollars. I think at one time it was $11 trillion company. You have all these people competing against veterans, first-time buyers. Your thoughts?
Well, no matter what happens, BlackRock or the likes of is not going to let the little guy win any way, shape, or form. They can afford to come in there, underbid, get it, and get that property. That's what they want, and that's what they do. I've been involved with a couple situations like that, and it's not right. It's not right at all. How do you correct it? What's the resolution? I don't really have a good assumption of how we can fix that problem. It's powerful. It's very powerful.
Well, I do. So you remember when the mortgage meltdown happened back in 06 to 08? The mortgage meltdown. You had that
sure do.
Foreclosure activity. What happened was when those REOs came out, real estate owned. So the bank calls it an REO because on their books, on their balance sheets, their balance statements, it's classified as an REO, real estate owned, meaning they took it back and they own it now. When they would release that REO inventory back out onto the market, they would give a minimum period. I think it was mostly like 14 or 21 days for only owner occupants to purchase that property, to bid on that property. So there you go. There you have it. There's the easy solution. If a new property hits the market, you've got 14 or 21 days, call it a month, before anybody outside of an owner occupant can purchase that property. In other words, the investors would have to wait till day 31 to make their offers. There you go.
Yeah, and what is unfortunate, I think you've seen this as well, a lot of the people were stressed, financially stressed. They were not able to actually come back in and bid on their property. And a lot of them never even step forward to even attempt that. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Well, to bid on their property, the people that got kicked out, you mean? The people that
yes, they didn't move forward. A lot of people that I know never moved forward on attempting to bid on it, even though I don't think that they were educated enough to know what they could do to possibly get their property back.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying at the courthouse.
They were so stressed out in dire straits at that point. They never moved forward. And like I say, I've known a couple people that it happened to, and I try to give them good advice, but you know where that goes.
Yeah. Well, I got you. We got to take a quick break. More with Fred Muth on the flip side here. We're talking with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Support the local economy. Support Fred and his team over there. Great team over at Tampa Screens and Aluminum for all of your lanais, porches, patios, pool cages. They do such a great job with that. Nothing but 100% raving fans on the feedback from him and really all of our expert contributors, by the way. All right, quick break. Right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rimes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rimes here for AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. My wife and I shifted a lot of our buying habits, and we wanted to support companies that support our values, patriotic, Christian conservative companies, and you can find that online at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. Now, what you're doing is you're not spending any new money. You're simply buying a lot of the common purchases that you're buying every month for the kitchen, the bathroom, your shampoos, your laundry detergent, all types of great essential oils, vitamins, herbs, those types of products. And for you beef lovers, we have great beef products as well. Tenderloin, sirloin steaks, grass-fed beef available as well. So check out AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. And I'd love to talk to you if you have any questions about it. There's also a business opportunity there for you as well. 813-917-1894. And thank you so much for supporting our company, AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rimes. You can reach me at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. That's consumerqb, like quarterback.com. Buying, selling, investing, or refinancing? We would love to talk to you. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Brandon BRimes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, 82120 B Street. This one's Pinellas Park. We got a new listing here. This is unit number 120. Great opportunity to own real estate here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 624 square foot, freshly renovated property at 82120 B Street, number 120, Pinellas Park. Great opportunity. You have a 55-plus community here, easy access, lots of amenities, lots of fun in these communities as well. So if you're a senior and you're looking for a vibrant lifestyle, check this one out. Great opportunity. Also, 7405 Dove Meadow Trail, Tail Trail, that is, in Lakeland, Florida, 7405. This one is land available. This one's 2.77 acres, residential land situated parallel with a paved road there. You have located just 7 miles from historic downtown Lakeland. Farmers markets, restaurants, boutiques, lots to do over there. You're 20 minutes from Legoland and Walt Disney World, less than an hour away. 7405 Dove Meadow Tail Trail, Lakeland, Florida. Another one of our vacant land listings. By the way, if you're looking for land, we've got about a dozen land listings, some great opportunities throughout Tampa Bay and beyond. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, we got Fred Muth in the house. Fred, you've heard of the traditional green cards, but as you know, we're rolling out a gold card around here.
Breaking news, the president has just unveiled a $5 million gold card program to replace EB-5. Targeting wealthy foreign investors who create American jobs, it streamlines citizenship and is expected to generate billions or even trillions of dollars, possibly enough to completely pay off the entire national debt.
Boom, there you go. The wealth, the golden wealth, the golden age of America is back, Fred.
Another brainstorm from the Don.
That's right. Think about the impact of that. You know, if you have
yeah. He is down deep. He's an ordinary average guy. He came from the streets. He knows what it's like.
Yeah.
And a lot of his thinking is like that. I'm from the Northeast, and I watched what he did up there. And I don't like to get too political on the radio, but back in the 70s, I watched what that guy did, and it was beautiful. People didn't like him at first because he put them back to work for less money, but they weren't working. Now they're back working again, and they love them because they got their jobs back, they got their repossessed Cadillacs back. Everything was good, and the concept worked back then. Hopefully it's going to work again, and it's a tough battle. He's got a lot of things in front of him, a lot of paving to go,
a lot of headwinds.
He's not a guy that slows down. He don't stop. He don't slow down. He's like Rocky Balboa in the 10th round.
Yeah, that's right. I love that. I love that metaphor. I just watched that movie too, the Chuck Wepner story. What an interesting story there. At the end, he ended up winning a judgment from Stallone. Stallone was pretty upset about that. But let's shift gears. Go back to business here, Fred. Take about a minute and tell us if we're thinking about adding on an addition, a screen room, a lanai, a porch, a patio. We want to screen it in. We want to add some beautiful projects in the backyard. What's that look and feel like?
It's the in-between space is what 90% of everybody moves to Florida for. They come down here, they get away from the cold, they get away from the whatever else they're getting away from, high taxes. They get a home that's 3,300 square feet. And they got a nice yard out back. But they want to have in-between space, and they call Tampa Screens or one of our competitors, and we come out. We do whatever it takes. Concrete, pavers, and we don't necessarily do that particular work, but we arrange for that. We have contractors that do that, concrete and pavers. We do the screen work, and of course we're a GC, so we could go. We could take on the entire project. We carry residential and general contractor license, but it's easier just to split them up among the other contractors. It's a better deal for the customer in a lot of cases. So the in-between space is well appreciated, well needed. I moved here from Philadelphia in '87, and I want to green.
What's the phone number, Fred?
Okay, I'm going on and on. Sorry, 813-960-7064.
960-7064. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, tampascreens.com. Fred, thank you so much. Please go out there.
With the Tarpon Turtle.
That's right. We'll see you there. Please go out and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rimes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894.